All right. Welcome back to KnicksNBruises episode 12. I got international Andy. What's going on, Andy?
What up? What up, Tone? Happy to be with you. Yo,
Thank
Black,
you,
it's
man.
time.
Yes, you know it. You're Black. It's time. I appreciate you coming on, giving me some time. I know you've watched a couple episodes, so you know what it's about. We suffered over the years as Knicks fans, and I'm just trying to get everybody's worst Knicks moments, their little Knicks and their big bruises. So the floor is yours, man. Wherever you want to start.
Yeah, Don. I like I told you before, even the episode started. I would like to go a little bit different on this, since the thing that I'm here in Europe, and it's totally different for me here. So let me just plug in a couple of words about myself, about my history. So you're gonna feel how I and why and how I feel about the Knicks this way and not the other way, right? So, I left the United States when I was 6 years old. And basically after that, I only came back for like 2 months or a month on vacation. And, on vacation in the summertime, there's no NBA.
Mm-hmm.
So, basically, what can you remember, till the 6th year of age, right? You remember like those kind of couple of jingles, couple of music things that the commercials that were in the TV set. I remember the commercial about milk does a body good, with the athletes and stuff like that. That's like burned into your memory, right? And there were only couple of things, right? I left to live here in Poland in 1989-90. So basically it was even before the Knicks came into the 90s and were that hard-nosed grit team. So when I left New York, I flew to Poland, a town called Rzeszów. It's exactly because I checked it just for the show, bro. I checked it. It's 4,371 miles away, 6 hours of a time zone difference. So that was the worst thing. And not to mention that in United States, you guys had that you can listen on to the Knicks on the radio, you can watch them on TV. Maybe not every game was available then, but you can watch them at least live probably, or listen to them. In Poland till like I don't know, maybe late 1990s, they had like one game every 2 weeks, and it wasn't like a Knick game. It was like one NBA game, and you had to get up like 2-3 a.m. just to watch it. And you woke up and you didn't even know what kind of game they're gonna show. So you were like, okay, I'm gonna win. And then they show, I don't know, the Seattle Supersonics with someone, and we're like, oh damn, I'm going back to bed because I'm not gonna watch it, right? So to be true, bro, I think from a regular season schedule, I saw like 5 games of the Knicks from live from the 1990s to 2000. Wow. So it was like 5 games, my whole, let's call it that, till that time life, right? So basically I learned about the Knicks playing video games. Me and my brother always liked sports, and we always, were competitive like that. So, first, the Super Nintendos, whatever, right? You got the Nintendo 64, and then on PC, the NBA Live games. So, basically what team you're going to pick. Of course, I'm from New York. I'm going to pick the Knicks because they're from New York, right? So my little brother, he's like a year younger, so he didn't have any other team, so he picked the Nets, right? Because they were like the second thing closest to the, and I banned him because you could pick like the Knicks versus the Knicks, but I told him, dude, we're not going to be playing the same players on the court. That's not realistic. So just pick another team. So he picked the Nets. And basically from video games, I knew that Allen Houston was a 3-point threat. That Patrick Ewing, was a guy inside, right? And, it was really hard because, not to mention that when you were a little kid, I had like most of my family still in the States, right? So whenever I told them, they called in for us. So I'm like, what do you want? And I want any kind of Knicks gear. And I'm like, I'm 40 almost. I'm 38 this year, bro. And I always, whenever they called and asked me, would you like something? I like, whatever, even knockoff, just be a Knicks gear. So like Sim said, you can get it at Canal Street. Just give me something Knicks, bro. So my wife orders some vitamins, my brother some shoes or whatever. I'm like, just give me something Knicks. I don't care, And in the 2000s, the NBA came up with the NBA League Pass, and that was something for me, bro. I remember my first League Pass I got. It was like a couple of $100, and here in Poland, when you recalculate, for the Polish money, it was like a half a monthly salary, and I was like, "F it, I'm gonna have that. If I don't have to buy anything the whole year, I'm gonna get it, right?" So I was like, I got it, but then I was thinking that it's gonna be like this these days, right? So you can log in, whatever, watch the game, and it's gonna be fine, right? Nah, it was only live time, So I had to wake up at 1 a.m. because 1 a.m. is 7 p.m. at your time, and watch the Knicks games, So I was a little bit younger. And, that was working for me for like, I don't know, probably over 10 years, the League Pass is now. So, I was walking, and the other day in work, on college, whatever, I was like a zombie, bro. I was like walking like this, puffing, getting that Red Bull in the morning just to be able to go through the day. And, this is actually the first year that I'm not watching every Knick game, because I got so many things to do at work. I moved my company, I got the building bigger, new machines and stuff like that. I don't have the personnel figured out, so I can sleep over to like 10 and then come into work, right? So I got to be there on point like 8 a.m. every time, almost opening the company as the first guy. So I can afford to watch the games live. I sometimes I cheat, and on Thursdays and on Fridays I watch them. Saturdays watch them live, right? So that's a blessing for me. But yeah, that was like that was that bit of history, just so fans feel my pain. That one thing, that I'm so far away. It's not like you guys, you're gonna gather some money for like a week or two, and you can just pop up at MSG and go to a game, right? I need to get a flight ticket. I need to get off from work. Like at least gotta be a week in the States. So I'm not gonna be some wild dude just fly in for a game and go straight from MSG to JFK just to fly back, right? And not to mention that, like, only for last 2 years, the airport from my city has straight flights to New York. I had to go through Warsaw, and then from Warsaw to that. So the flight sometimes with some postponements and stuff, it was like 20 hours of a trip, right? So and God forbid if I got a ticket and the planes were late or something, bro, I don't even think about that. That could happen, right? So yeah, last and actually first time I was able to go on the Knicks game, it was the Carmelo Anthony 62-point game.
How about that?
Yeah, I got a jersey from that game, and I remember I came in with two buddies from the company, and we were sleeping at my grandmother's house, on Greenpoint, New York, and we were staying there for a week. I managed to, it was actually 10 days, and I managed to be on 6 NBA games live. It was five for the Knicks, because, every time the Knicks schedule comes up, I'm like, the first thing I was like looking for that home stretch, right? Okay, these guys are playing good teams. I'm gonna book a ticket and wherever, right? So it was like the first year that I was like, and they were stinking basically back then. Carmelo had that great game, but we weren't like a great team, and it wasn't a pleasure watching them like it's a pleasure to watch them now, right? But for me, it was like the first time I was watching a live Knicks game. So whatever, if they would stink up the joint for like minus 40 points, I would love it there. Yeah. So that's how my pain is in Poland here. So not to mention that now when I don't watch the game, I can't go on Facebook, Twitter, whatever, just to not see the result, because how stupid it is to watch the game when you know the result, right?
Yes.
Man, that's a pain in the ass. So
that is let me just give you your props, because one, I never thought of that. So you have probably the most unique pains as a Knicks fan, and it comes even before you watch a game, because
Exactly.
you have to go through obstacles to watch a game, and I've never thought of that, man. So kudos to you, man. That's a true Knicks fan.
Yeah, bro,
You know
that's
what I
and
mean?
like I told, I think I told it once in Sim's show NBK. Shout out to Sim.
Absolutely.
I told him once that it's when you're younger and you don't have like kids or whatever, right? You can just
Do what you
grab a
want.
beer or two, knock yourself out, wake up in the middle of the night, and go into work, or last next day, right? Now when I have kids, it's hard because you gotta put them to sleep, make food, whatever. When you're trying to go to sleep, it's like 11, right? So you got a power nap for like an hour or two, and then you got to wake up. Then you watch the game for 3 hours, and it's like 4 or 5 a.m. You go to sleep, wake up at 6:30 to go to work. So it's, and for a stretch, like if we would play like 2 games a week, you could manage to do it easily, right? But when we have like 3 or 4 games a week,
back to back,
man, bro, you're like a zombie. You don't even, my wife tells me something, and I'm like, frying something on I was supposed to, add water just to boil it. I'm like frying stuff on the cooking stove. I'm like, whatever, just put something in my mouth, just to shut up, right? So it's it's now it's even more like mental, right? Because you're so tired that it's not even about the physical thing that you're going to be walking like tired and stuff. It's like mentally exhausting for you when you think about it. And not to mention the West Coast games. The West Coast games start at 4. It was like one time it was like I was happier for the West Coast games because I woke up, I watched
Later.
the game already dressed and straight to work.
Nice.
So yeah, the power nap was like 3-4 hours, and then straight to work. So
hey,
yeah,
man,
but
that's unique, and yeah, I'm just shocked, man, because I never thought of that aspect, and
yeah,
I've complained about watching a late game because I gotta work in the
bro,
morning.
that's when I hear you guys talk about
I can't
that,
complain about
man.
none of that ever again. I just gotta think about Andy's pain, and it makes it
Whenever
okay.
Tony, I heard that, bro, that was like, I was like, man, these guys, man, at 10 that would be perfect. Kids at bed, I just sit on the couch and watch the game. So that would be perfect for me. So but like going more to the Knicks, right? I also like I said, most of the Knicks painful history was like past me because I didn't see. I had to watch and download these games to see the Charles Smith finger roll, the Patrick Ewing, the fouling him, right, the Patrick Ewing finger roll, but also the great things, right, the John Starks dunk, the LJ 4-point play, plenty of stuff, right? So I dig into that. I read books. I got books at my house, ordered from the States from my cousin, so that someone was coming, from the other family or whatever, or a friend was coming from the States, so he brought me books from the Knicks, newspapers, whatever. I got my hands on. I was happily to join in, before the internet era, that it was up, right? So that was hard. So I don't have like much of those kind of bruises that I was painful because that was my memory. I was, that was like one day the internet came, I download everything, I find a torrent webpage, whatever. I downloaded like 50 games and I watched them, one by one. So, that wasn't like, okay, I was that young and at that place when that happened, right? But I also feel the pain with the rookies, the all that happens now in the last, when the internet era, the league pass era, so last, over 10 years, it's painful. The same time for me, like for you guys, right? So and also I don't know if you think about it, like me, when you're in New York and you're living in New York, you basically know that most of the people on the streets are New York Knicks fans, right? They can be BK fans on some, like casual NBA fans, so they can be Cavs, LeBron fans, Lakers, whatever, right? Here, you got like, in my city, I live in a city like 150K people. I bet you that maybe like 3,000 people like basketball, like 2,500 don't even watch NBA. They just watch, the Polish league, Euro league, whatever. So the 500 like more hardcore fans watch the NBA, but just because they have so much time and they love basketball that much, but they're not like fans like me. So I know everything about the Knicks, right? I have a friend, a Detroit Pistons fan, where because he grew up when the Pistons were better, and he had a similar story like me. He never saw the games live, just rewatched them on tape or whatever. And I got a Boston, Chicago Bull fan, right? And those guys, in the earlier years, they were giving me a hard time because whatever the Knicks did, they drafted, they traded, whatever, bro. They had to laugh at me. And now when we are better, it's the same thing. The Bulls fans was like, and I'm like, you see the Knicks, they're in progress this season. And he's like, I give them like 5 more games and they're gonna drop. And 5 games later, I'm like, see the Knicks are back. I told you, bro. He's like, I'm giving them another 5 games, and after that, bro, they're gonna ditch and nosedive in the standings. I'm like, we're gonna see about that. But you can tell them, just watch a game and look how they are playing good. He's like, I'm not going to waste my time for the Knicks, bro. They're like that. Nothing, bro. It's like you had a tattoo on your forehead, Knicks losers or whatever, and you try to talk him, that the Knicks are better right now.
Welcome to the life of a Knicks fan, man.
Yeah, bro.
We get it from the friends and the family.
From everyone.
Everyone.
My father is like, he doesn't watch sports. He's like, he loves pigeon racing and whatever. He has like pigeon house, bro. He's more invested in pigeon than in the family, right? But I'm like, he's calling me up and I'm like, bro, I can't talk now. I can't check you in an auction or whatever, or buy you something off like the Polish eBay because I'm watching the game. He's like, they're gonna lose again probably. I'm like, nah, they won the last 3 games. And he's like, that's not possible, And I'm like, bro, just give me the time, let me watch the game, and then we can talk after the game. So
I can only imagine too how frustrating it would have been the nights that you get up at 2, 3 in the morning or whatever and watch a game only to see a bad outcome.
They get blown out.
Or I mean, at least a blowout, you could see that coming and go to sleep early. But if it's a close game or we have a lead and we blow it at the end of the game, like to be up early and stay up and
Tony,
do that. And,
blood pressure is so high, bro, that I can't fall asleep. I'm like, lying on the bed and like eyes open and I can't close them even, bro. It's like a meme. So that's a painful thing, right? And a funny thing I'm going to mention about the 6-hour time zone difference, right? In Poland they changed the time zone a week earlier than in the States. So for that 1 week, I gotta watch out because it's a 5-hour difference, right? And sometimes I like wake up for the game and I'm popping it up and it's like halftime. I'm like, what the? And I see the result like 55, 48, right? And I'm like, what happened here? And I'm like, oh damn, I didn't know. I didn't count. I counted 6 hours instead of 5, bro. So that's some kind of BS thing, that you gotta watch out being a Knicks fan in Europe. So that's one of those things, man. And not to mention, now the bruises and I it's more mental for me because we all of Knicks fans, we gotta deal with each other, like the Frank fans, the Quickly fans, the Melo fans, whatever, and you're gonna have the good guys, the bad guys. Everybody has his basketball philosophy, right? So you're gonna have fans that like this guy because he does this, and the same guy might dislike another guy because he doesn't do it, right? But it's not, you can't evaluate a player that both players or that player is wrong. You just expect something else from a player. So for example, I'm a Frank fan, you see it on the poster, right? So for me, I'm not saying he's a perfect guy, he's a franchise player, whatever. I don't even think he might deserve playing time on the court currently, right? But I just don't understand people that just want to trade him or cut him for nothing. That's so bizarre for me. That's hate, because I understand that, okay, you saw Frank play, he can't score, you expect scoring from the point guard position or a guy that was taken in the top 10 in the draft, right? So you can expect more things, and you can say, okay, I don't like Frank, maybe we could trade him or so. Okay, you can trade him, but in a trade you're going to get something from him, right? But if you want to get him just off the team and get a free roster spot for him. Man, that's hate. Nobody's going to tell me anything else. And the same goes from Kevin Knox for whoever, right? And, I'm not a fan, and salute to Ron because I see him, pop up in the chat. And, for example, I'm not a huge fan of Kevin Knox. I know he has, a great projection. He's probably going to develop, right? But, I think I would rather see, for example, Frank have a couple of those minutes. I'm not saying every minute. I'm just saying give a shot to this guy, give a shot to that guy. Maybe he's going to produce. Maybe he can crack the rotation after getting a chance, right? If Frank is not going to get minutes, he's not going to crack the rotation unless an injury happens, right? Mm-hmm. But, we're giving a shot at Kevin Knox. Meanwhile, Kevin Knox or even Emmanuel Quickly, they don't play defense. So if they don't score, they're basically useless on this team. Meanwhile, Frank could at least show you that defense. Mm-hmm. He might not score every game, but some games you're going to, need defense over offense. So, for me, you got to have a basketball philosophy, and it's not like you got to stick to it, right? Because of course you got to diversify the players and use them in different kind of scenarios and situations. But I just don't get people, and I'm not here just to tell people and explain that Frank is a good player. I don't care if you like Frank. I know my things and my pros about Frank, and I love him for that or for this, right? And you don't have to do it for the same time, for the same things. So that's one of my other bruises that Knicks fans. Some of them are haters, bro. Nothing else, nothing, more, less, nothing more. Some of them are haters.
I mean, I definitely feel you because people tend to have their favorite guy on the team. Everybody has a different guy, and then now it's a competition between teammates from the fans' perspective, Oh, your guy's getting more minutes than my guy, or my guy deserves more minutes than your guy, and it definitely shouldn't be that way. And I mean, I like Frank. I like all our young guys, to be honest, man.
Yeah, me too.
I like Knox. I like Frank. They just aren't in the rotation. I think they both had a fair shot, at least this year. I think Frank's biggest issue for me, and we've talked about it on MBK, it's the injuries.
Exactly.
He gets into this 2-3 game stretch where it's like, all right, this is what we want to see from you. He finally got it. It clicked, and then it's always like a hamstring or something, and then it's reset, and you got to work his way back into the rotation. Then once he's in the rotation, he got to work his way into his feel for the game again. And then he finally gets it back on track, and bam.
And like you said, it's the injuries for Frank are atrocious, right? Because like you said, whenever he gets in a rhythm, he gets injured. And I also understand coaches and the management that you can't invest plenty of time and money in that kind of player, right? Because it would be dumb to give, an injury-prone player, big money. But I don't think Frank, even after this season, is expecting a huge contract, right? So if you just want to ditch him for a roster spot or a second round pick, I don't think any guys picked in the second round in this draft will be better than Frank. I don't just see it. So just package up the picks, go higher, pick the guy you want, and leave Frank on the 15th spot and leave him there. Let him develop in the practices. Maybe his number is gonna get called. Remember, he's one of those defensive guys that every team has, and also, the Knicks don't have like 10 defensive guys on the bench just to pick one from him. He's like the only one basically there. So, I think he might be valuable if, we need to tighten up the defense in the bench lineup, which is actually what I think we should do. But, I'm not Tibbs, and I don't have that kind of authority to tell Tibbs, you better play Frankie. So it's like that.
I see you got some good points though. I can't argue with you. I agree with you that he doesn't. I don't think he's gonna command a huge contract. It won't be expensive to keep him down the road. And one thing that I think a lot of people don't really take into consideration is how the league has changed. It went from an older guys league to a young man's league, but as the league gets younger and younger, people are expecting guys to be who they're projected to be immediately,
way sooner, right?
And I don't think that's fair for players. You know, it's to give guys time to develop. You know,
exactly.
back in the day, it was rare for a guy to even come into the league with 1 year out of college.
Yeah, it was only like, you know, sophomores and you know,
sophomores, juniors, seniors.
Yeah.
You know, it was very rare for a freshman. So now it's rare for, like, now you get knocked for playing 4 years.
Yeah,
they think you're at your peak. When years ago, even a 4-year guy was expected to still come in and have to develop. So I think that window right there, it's lost. It's shortened. So now, you know, guys expect a rookie to come in and be who they're going to be within that 4 years of their rookie contract.
Yeah, and you know, not to even mention, because if I'm correct, Frank is younger than Quickly. He's younger than Obi. So, you know, he still has, you know, time. For me, he still has time. So, you know, it's not like he's 27 and he's at this point in his career, because if he would be 27, bro, I would be the first one getting him a ticket to France. so that's not, you know, even a question, right? Yeah, Tony, you know, funny thing from you know, one more bruises that are international thing. You know, when I watch the games, you know, now I have a 11-year-old son, right? So sometimes he watches the game, because, you know, when I always tell my wife and my kids, when I'm watching the game, don't bother me. I want to watch the game, analyze it, you know, my way, because I also coach kids and stuff. I just want to, you know, I'm so into the game, and when I'm watching any kind of basketball, I look at the tactics, I look at the defenses of the offense, what they do, with, you know, some new things to learn, right? So I'm like, don't bother me, don't throw balls around here, you know, balloons, whatever. I don't want to play now, right? So my son, you know, watches like 1 in 5 game from me. And, you know, the worst thing is, like, whenever he watches, for example, Kevin Knox has a great game, and I'm like, bro, you should watch when Frank has that. Why don't you watching the game when Frank has the good game? Watch him. I want you to play defense and this. And he's like, oh, not in, bro. He watches the Knicks like 1 in 5 times. He looks at them running around the court. He doesn't see the number on the guy, but he knows that guy is Kevin Knox. And I'm like, damn, why do you don't like Julius Randle? You don't like, you know, whoever else, right? He's like, that guy's Kevin Knox, you know. so
I know what jersey to get little man.
Yeah, yo,
gotta get him a Knicks jersey, or at least while he's still on the team, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, man, you gotta support the little guy, man.
Yeah, I support him. If he would only like to play basketball as I would wish myself, bro, that would be perfect.
You say he's 11?
Yeah, he's 11, but, you know, he doesn't have that. You know, some kids, you see that they have that, you know, sports thing in them. He's not that kind of, you know, Duggan. The esport, right? He can play video games like crazy, but, you know, running around with kids, it's not his thing, right? So
it's a new era. A new era.
Exactly, new thing here. So, and, you know, in Poland also, you know, the basketball here, bro. I don't want to even, you know, try to explain you guys that the biggest national how do you call it? The stadium, right? The like the basically the stadium, right, where the national team plays, is like 6,000 people, bro. 6,000 people you got in colleges, and it's like a minor college in the States, right? So whenever I try to, you know, tell these Knicks fans, you know, look, I remember one time for the Bull and the Detroit Piston fan, right? I got him like videos from the Duke campus, from the biggest colleges, right? How those guys as college players, they go in, they have, you know, those lounges, play pool, swimming pools in their you know, like thing, right? Just in their stadium and in their facility. And I'm like, bro, our national team doesn't have that shit.
Wow.
So, you know, it's hard to, you know, imagine. And And basically, Tony, it's around the Europe like that. Lithuania, which they have like that's their sport. Basketball is their sport, because in Poland it's like more soccer, volleyball, whatever, right? In Lithuania and in Croatia, like basketball is the thing.
It's big,
So
yeah.
yeah, they have gyms and whatever, but they're also, poor countries. It's not like they have great facilities, like 2 3 teams have the great facilities there. But the rest is like, bro, they have spiders around the facilities. So it's not a good thing. That's why I'm surprised how many Lithuanian and Croatian and Serbian,
Make it.
Slovenian players get that kind of rep, like Doncic, Dragic, bro, Doncic and Dragic, that whole Slovenian country, they're probably the size of Massachusetts, and they have like 3.5 million people, the whole country, and they get a player like that from that kind of country. So that's wild, bro.
To me, that it's not surprising though, because it's that same mentality here of growing up and coming from the mud and climbing your way out. You know what I mean? Sometimes the guys with the least opportunity just have that grit and that fight in them to get out of that situation.
Yeah.
And then when it comes down to basketball, it's easy. You know what I mean? Because it's like, what I dealt with at home. You know what I mean? With wars and things of that nature. Basketball is simple. It's a game still.
Yeah, and I also was talking about with Sim about the development of players, right? In Europe, it's more fundamental. Like you see Jokic, you see Doncic, they can shoot with left, right hand, whatever. In the States, you got more athletic build, right? In college, those guys get the supplements. That when you like see a guy come out of college after 4 years, a Tyler Hansbrough, bro, he can move the basket by himself, right? In Europe, you got a lazy fat guy like Jokic, and he's gonna be crafty around the basket, right? So it's a totally different thing. French players are a little bit different in that manner, because in France they have that they're like the second New York, right? They're like a melting pot. They got so many nationalities there that they mix so hard that they got athletic and crafty players there, right? And the rest of the countries, they got more crafty guys than athletic.
Okay.
So
no, I mean, I definitely could see that. To me, that's a problem for the United States. You know what I mean? Like, eventually, the athleticism is not gonna cut it. And you can see it now. Look at a guy like Dennis Smith, who we had, who had all the athleticism in the world, but there's ways to stop that. You gotta learn how to get crafty.
There's plenty of players and still in Poland, it's a weak league, right? And you have like limitations. You can have like only 2 players from the States on the court, right? So they contract like 3 Americans. Of course, they're better than the Polish players, right? But the coaches, when you have only a player that has athletic ability, but he doesn't have it upstairs, right? And he doesn't think on the court. He just goes ISO and just plays for himself. Those guys are not going to cut it in the Europe League, any Europe League. They rather, in Lithuania, they don't even get, guys from abroad. They just ride with their players, So basically, only weak leagues that want to play in the Euro League or whatever, they gotta contract those guys from abroad. And it's also a good thing to develop their players here, because they get that athletic guy. They see how he works out at the gym, right? He's a gym rat. He lifts weights, bro. In Europe, you don't lift weights in meanwhile the season, because you can get your shot deregulated, right? So you only do lifting in the off season. You got like 3 months off season, so how much you gonna pump up there? It's like, that's why these guys are like looking like lazy guys, but they can shoot from the left hand, whatever, and do so many crafty things.
Is there, this is a little off topic, but is there a American player that you've seen who's gone to Europe and got better there, got better playing in Europe, maybe learn and pick up some things there?
There's an ex-Nick. Even he was playing in Polish league, and he became like one of those first imported. I mean, imported like he came from the States here, right? So he was like that, and it was Quintel Woods. He was an ex pick, back in the day. So he was like, oh, this guy playing in the NBA. They didn't even say New York. He played in the NBA like he was, Michael Jordan's buddy. Like they were like playing poker together, and he just signed a contract here. So Quintel Woods, and he was an awesome guy for several years here. And then he, left Poland to play in, I think it was Russia or whatever, and play for big money. But, even an ex-Nick like Anthony Randolph, he plays in Real Madrid now in Spain, in the Spanish league. And there's several players that didn't pan out in the NBA, but they came. Shane Larkin, bro, he's a beast in Turkey.
Yeah,
he's cooking. He's like the MVP every week almost. He got the Turkish national passport, so he plays for the Turkey national team now. Bro, he's balling there. But he was small, he was crafty, but he could make a shot. He was fast, so he fit in the gap in the European style of basketball, right? But if you're looking for a guy like Tyler Hines, bro, just pure muscle and move around guys, that's not going to work in Europe for you. So those crafty guys, and sometimes it's like with the rookies in the NBA, you just gotta sign in a perfect situation. So not every player that comes here, and even is a better player, is going to work out. My friend coach was assistant coach in the top league here in Poland. It was like 50 miles from our city. And I was on a couple of games and a couple of practices with those guys. I had a chance to speak with the guys from the States. They were appreciated that they found even a fellow American in this soil, right? So we chopped it up for a couple of minutes, couple of times, had a beer here and there. But they were like, they came here for the money. They knew they were, you could tell, they didn't say it, straight even to me, right? And I wasn't a guy from the team or whatever, right? But you could say that they were here and just for the money. And, if someone gave him like $200 somewhere else more in another country, whatever, bro, they were packing their baggages, like now. So that would be crazy.
You see what Chap asked you?
Bro, I already told him if he's gonna make it to the big leagues, I want to be that first assistant coach, bro. I'm gonna wipe that whiteboard for him, just for him to chop it up, and I would be glad. I would be glad to do it.
That's nice. So, that Melo 63-point game, that was the first game you ever been to?
That was the first game I was in the Garden, bro.
How special is that, man?
Yeah, and I always told myself, bro, I bought a jersey. That was my first jersey, like originally bought in the MSG, Buick, whatever, and the first original one, because I had, those Patrick Ewings, like, when I was a kid, but that was the first jersey I bought myself, and it was almost $200, so it wasn't that, but I was like, damn, I'm the first game, I gotta have a souvenir like this, bro. So I didn't even wear it. It's still in the foil, like hanging in my closet. So
did you buy it after the game?
No, before, bro.
Oh, okay.
That's why I told Melo, bro, he should get me tickets to every his game, and I would get a jersey of him just to score him, like make him a scoring chap for 60 a game.
Oh man, so I can only imagine very first game. And
bro, I Tony, I'm gonna say you a fun story. I was like on a 5 Knicks games, and I was in the Nets game because my uncle has those he has them season tickets, right? And he was like in the 6th row, right? And I remember, bro, it was 2 funny things about this game. I was on the ticket, there was a name. It said Tickets Now Club, right? And I divided that. When you think about it, the ticket Snow Club, right? And I'm like, coming in the stadium, the Barclays, right? And I'm like, where's the Snow Club, entrance? And the lady was like, what kind of Snow Club? And I'm like, here, right? And she said like, tickets now club, and I moved that. So I'm like, snow club tickets. And I'm like, where's the snow club? Because, my uncle said, like, you just go in earlier. You have food there in that season ticket, food, wine, beverages, whatever, right? Just go earlier, eat up and just go down, at the 6th row and take a seat. And I'm popping up at the Barclays Center asking, that, like, people crowded, on the side. And I'm like, okay, he's a, entrance. I got a snow club ticket. So I'm like, bam, lady, where's the snow club entrance, right? Bro, I was so humiliated. I was like, red, bro. But I'm like, damn, they don't know me here. That's going to be my only time in my life at Barclays, bro. So I'm like, damn, screw it, right?
I'm glad you didn't ask the wrong person.
Bro.
They would be like, yeah, come this way.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll show you.
I'm going to take you with the elevator, right? Yeah, but the second thing, they were playing the Raptors. Bro, it was such a tight game, and Kyle Lowry hit the game winning at the buzzer, right? The game winner, bro. And I was the only one in the 6th row, and I was like, yeah, and I was like, oh damn, like. So, but I'm gonna tell you, bro, I was in the 5 Knicks games live, and the 1 Nets game. Their DJ, damn, bro, he's off the hook. He beats the MSG DJs like by far. They have those, MCs there. Crazy. I even looked up the lady MC there. She was a Knicks cheerleader. I don't remember her name now. She got that funny curly hair. But I was like, damn, she was doing such a great job there at the Barclays. I was like, I had to look up where I know him from. So shout out Stephen Fox.
For sure. Stephen Fox, what's good?
Yeah.
Thanks for the support. Chat, thanks for the support. Appreciate you guys. Yeah, this is fun, man. You definitely brought a totally different vibe to the show, man.
I had to pick up with the history a little bit, because it's such a painful thing, and the worst thing is, like I told you, Tony, for me at least, the biggest bruises is the fan hate, whatever it's the Knicks fans or whatever other kind of team fan hate. Because I can't, I'm not the kind of guy that I'm going to tell you, bro, this guy's better than your team, whatever, right? Because I know people are not going to listen to me until the Knicks are like 2 or 3 seasons of playing good basketball, and their team sucks. I don't have nothing to tell them, right? And the other thing is, the over 4,000 miles away, right? So it's I would someday I would be like pissed at work, whatever. I'll just, go on StubHub, Ticketmaster, whatever, and, cop that ticket and go to the next game in the evening, right? No, it's not easy for me. I got to plan it months ahead now. So that's a pain thing.
I'm sure. And then
even Isiah can drop in from Connecticut, right?
Connecticut, yeah. And then, I mean, God forbid, but one little thing can, you plan a trip. Yeah. I'm sure you got to plan it months in advance. Yeah. If a guy doesn't, load management, that's never been a thing with us, but you never know what could happen. Injury.
Tony, that's why I'm looking for 5-game home stretch, so at least, whatever load management, at least I'm going to see him in one of those 5 games.
Yeah, damn, I never really thought about the trials and tribulations of an international Knicks fan,
Yeah.
Time zones, travel, all that. It makes me a little bit, it puts things in perspective for me. I can't complain about the little obstacles I gotta go through.
Yeah, that's why I sometimes I laugh and I'm like, yo, these guys are telling that late game at 10 because it's a West Coast game. So I'm like, bro, I take it every day. So
for sure. The Prince, salute, shout out.
Yeah, shout out Prince.
Stephen Fox, salute. City for real, salute. Chop, appreciate you guys. Yeah, man. So what else you got? What else you got for me? Anything from the 2000s on, I guess?
Yeah, from the 2000s on, it was like so many, because when I listen to your episodes, people pop on with the Isiah Thomas stories as the GM, right? I know that because I read books, I read stories, I watched, those, I just wasn't like one-to-one in the times, with that,
Yep.
right? But I caught up with everything, on that. So I felt everything. I saw those Charles Smith replays, hundreds of times. So, those fouls like 2-3 times. I'm like, damn, they call a ticky-tack foul nowadays. And then, he was hammered under that basket, right? So it's several things that it was so bad, that you couldn't go to a game, couldn't watch it live, and just one day you got sometimes now even I just pop up on some kind of weird website, forum, type in a link for a game, I don't know, a San Antonio from the 1994 finals, whatever, game, and I know the result of this or that game, right? So I pick, like, I don't know, the second game. I don't know, I don't remember the result, right? So I watch that game from board to board, stop, take notes, rethink it like twice, 3 times. Why did they do it like that? That player would fit them, perfectly. And like I said, bro, the first years were like, it was pure NBA life for me. I knew that this player on this team, Michael Red, that he was a damn good 3-point shooter. I love him on my squad. Yeah, that at that time, I trade this guy, that guy. I loved playing with Chris Charles. I remember, when he was, traded from Toronto or whatever, bro. It was so many stories. And that was also the thing, because when there was no internet, the video games they like updated the rosters, right? So you knew a trade happened when the new roster was, you were like, you pick the Knicks and you're just like, okay, there's no stars here. Whatever. When did he go? Okay, he's over there. Like, oh, damn. So, that's how you get the news back in the day.
I wonder if that was an advantage in a sense that you didn't have to deal with some of the stuff in real time. So by the time you read on something, or got your information sent to you, it was kind of far. Yeah. It was far removed from real time, so it didn't affect you as bad.
Yeah, exactly. It might have been like that, but also, I'm 38 almost. I got so many gray hair. You don't see it on the camera because the quality is bad. But bro, I'm silver here, so so it's not like that didn't affect me at all. But like you said, it probably was better. Even when you were watching, you probably guys saw it live, like an injury happen, right? When I popped on the NBA.com website, I saw the result, I saw the box score, and I'm like, okay, I analyzed the box score. Okay, why this guy, the starter played like 18 minutes only?
18 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? He's averaging like 30 minutes. Why he played 18? And you think about it, okay, his stats were good. He probably got injured. You read the 2-3 sentence of the highlight thing on the game, and they didn't have even highlight clips then, just the box score. And I'm like, damn. And in the other, a couple of years later when they had the highlights, you at least saw, okay, oh, this guy turned his ankle, whatever, right? The major injuries, they didn't show him the major injuries, but they at least, mentioned, okay, the Knicks are playing without this or this guy because he had an injury back in the day, right? So it was, something like that you knew. But imagine betting, for a Knicks team that you didn't know if someone got injured the previous game and you gotta, put up a bet, like, so that was wild, man.
Oh man. So let's move forward a little bit. Let's get into this current roster. Obviously this current regime, things have changed. We're moving in the right direction. We have an all-star on our team now. That's great news. What's your thoughts of the current roster, where we're at, so far this year? Where do you think we can go?
Well, to be true, Tony, it's even back in the day, the NBA was like this, that every team can beat every team basically on any given night, right? I don't think we can, probably go to the finals of the Eastern Conference. That will be a reach, I think, because I'm an optimistic fan. Sometimes some realism catches up with me, but I don't think we have that kind of cachet and even luck just to get in the to the finals of the Eastern Conference. But I think this team is capable of getting into the playoffs. That's definitely a thing that I think it's in the reach of this current roster. Of course, it could use some upgrades, right? But we got to look at the situation. We have still salary cap space. There are teams that are really close to us, and they don't have any cap flexibility. They're locked in for a couple of years now. Look at the Magic. They're stuck in this position for the next couple of years. That's why, and they're not going to get better anytime soon. Bearing their injuries or whatever, they got no chance to get better than us. Even if we keep the same squad and they keep the same squad, right? So we're still going to be better than them. Of course, they can make a move, but we can also make a move. So I think, of course, an upgrade of this roster would be good. But with this current roster, I think we can manage to slide into the playoffs. And I'm going to tell you this thing that I'm truly thinking of. Even if we slide into the playoffs and be in the 1-8 matchup, I could bet $1,000 that we're not going to get swept. We're going to at least get that 1W. This team is not one of those teams that are going to get swept. No, of course, someone is going to say, okay, so they're going to have 5 games and lose, right? Those 5 games are really important for a young squad like this. They're going to feel the playoff vibe. So, and this kind of experience is more valuable for them than 5-10 games even in the regular season, right? So I think it's really important for us to finally start getting in the path of making the playoffs this year, next year, and years to come. And, with maybe not minor tweaks, but if you would keep like the core of the players, swap 3 rotation players for better ones, and don't spend all the salary cap and then make a move for one bigger player, like a superstar player, whatever. I think we can manage to at least be in be in the top 4 in the Eastern Conference. And as a Knicks fan for I don't know 25 years, however you want to count my years, it's counting like a cat or dog years for me. So it's like just being in that top 4 in the East, that would be something like before the season. Okay, everybody in the plan is going to be okay. The Knicks are going to be at least top 4, top 3, maybe top 5, but they're going to be in the top. It's not like maybe they'll make the playoffs if they overachieve or something like that. So if we would be able to get into that position that we're a lock playoff team for a couple of seasons in a row, I would be happy with that.
The way the team's currently constructed, right? Without making a move, we make the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I think we make them. It might be through the play-in thing, the challenge, whatever they're going to call it, play-in tournament or something like that. But I think we should make it because I see plenty of worse teams in the East. And like we also saw, we beat the Bucks, we beat the Pacers, we beat the couple of great teams that are ahead of us. Mm-hmm. So I think we should beat the teams that are also below of us. So I think with this current roster, no changes happening. Of course, not bearing Julius Randle injury or whatever. I think we are capable of getting into the playoffs with this current roster.
I agree. I think at our best, I think we could possibly be a 5th seed at our best.
Probably so.
I think, yeah, I honestly think we might avoid the play-in altogether with a 6th seed. I am scared about being a 7th or 8th seed and having a play-in and missing the playoffs that way, because when it's one game, anything could happen. And it's
going to be really stressful, right? Even for Julius Randle, whatever. And this, we got to remember, this is a young team, so stress is not on their kind of side if you're talking about that one really important game, right? Because they would feel like they were in the finals. Mm-hmm. So it's better to like you said, to be in the top 6, so you avoid that thing. But for me, it's still better to even be in that playing thing that just straight out lottery.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And I think the way the roster's currently constructed, I think playoff experience, like you said, I don't think we get swept. I think we could beat any. It don't matter who we go up against. I think we could beat them at least once. But the experience of being in the playoffs, I think that is so. Oh man, it's priceless. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's gonna. I keep saying it. I always say it. That's where superstars are born. That's where good players become stars become superstars, and all that. So Randall could come off a all-star performance, make the playoffs, and then come out and show that what, I'm on the cusp of superstardom, not just stardom. You never know.
Yeah, Frank might have a Jerome James, kind of play-in series. You never know.
Oh man, but there is that question I wanted to ask you and get your input on, and I'll give my 2 cents on it as well. And that's RJ, playing with that second unit and coming off the bench, or even I forget the gentleman's name. I wish I could remember so I could give him his credit. But
Josh.
Oh no, I think it was a caller on Sim's show that's talked about pulling RJ first after the first 4 minutes.
Yeah,
switching that with a Burks, and then as the full second unit comes in, having RJ in with that second unit, and I think that also could work. I just like the dynamic of RJ with the second unit, giving them another legit scoring threat. And then putting some more shooting in that first unit. I just really like the idea of it. And I wouldn't look at it as a demotion for RJ. He could potentially still close out games, even though
he doesn't do it even now.
As of late, he has not. But yeah, I just like the dynamic. But what say you? What are your thoughts on that?
Both of these solutions have pros and cons, right? For me, the most important thing is that probably Thibs thinks also this way, that RJ is playing in the starting unit not only because he's a good player and stuff like that, but he's also a slow-paced player. Let's be true. He's not a fast-paced player. He doesn't run the court like a gazelle or whatever you want to call it. He's just a slow-paced. He can play a little bit of ISO, back to the ball, basket, and whatever, right? So he fits in the mold of that first unit. I'm not sure that in the fast pace with Quickly, Rose, and RJ at the 3, Obi at the 4, he's more of a fast-paced player. The 5 is a sticky situation here because I don't think neither does Nerlens Noel, neither Taj Gibson. They can run the floor like Mitch, right? So it would make sense to put Mitch back in the bench role and put Taj or Nerlens in the starting lineup, right? But of course, we're not going to do it that way also because Mitch is too valuable for a starting lineup in the rebounding and being a threat in the paint on the defensive end, right? So it might work out. I would have to see more minutes, and probably that's why Thibs has a bigger advantage over us to make that call, because he sees them in practice. He can mix and match the lineups and see how he works there, because he definitely could work, right? But the question is if he's not going to slow the second unit like that, so it doesn't hurt us even more. Because having Burks in the starting lineup for RJ is not a problem, because he's going to stretch the floor. He will have to adapt to a different role, because in the first games before Derrick Rose was here, we saw Burks as the playmaking, creating guy in the second unit. Quickly came up with the ball, but he gave it away to Burks, and Burks could, shoot after a dribble, should, coming off the screen and whatever. So he could create the shot for himself. He took some bad shots, but he also made them, right? So you got to give him a pass. But, I think in the starting unit, he would have to be a pure shooter, just like Reggie Bullock is. He would have to stretch the floor and take only shots. Of course, he can, sometimes make a fake and drive to the hole, right? But I think you would have to, cut his playing style just to keep him in the starting lineup as a shooter. So, you will lose his attributes by putting him in the starting lineup. But also, maybe not every game the second unit for us can run, because not every, opponent of us gives us the opportunity to run. So, sometimes RJ could work even way more better with the, second unit and a guy like Derrick Rose in there to create for him a little bit, make an open lane for him or whatever. So it could also work. It's hard for me to pick a stance here, because we would have to test it, right? And we're not going to see it in the games, because Tibbs has his rotation set, and in the only thing that he does, he mixes and matches in the fourth quarters, right? When the game is on the line. But we're not going to see like the whole bench squad in the fourth quarter in the meaning minutes, and the whole first squad, right? So he's going to mix that, that one player here, one player there. But we're not going to see Derrick Rose, Emmanuel Quickly, RJ Barrett, Obi Toppin, and Netherlands Noel or Taj Gibson at the end of the game, unless it's a blowout. So those minutes on the court, you got to evaluate them another way than if they will be meaningful minutes, like in even the second quarter, whatever. So it's a hard situation, but definitely it's worth trying, and it's better to try now and closer to the playoffs, right? Because we might be in a situation that every game is gonna matter, later in the season. So if you want to try it, you should do it right now.
I just think it changes the full dynamic of the team. It kind of gives you two fives, like two groups of five that you don't have to worry about much. I think RJ's defense should improve playing against the other team's second unit, instead of people are knocking RJ's defense as of recently, but I mean I hate to keep saying he's young, but he's young and he's still learning these guys. He hasn't defended all these different guys for multiple years to know their tricks, their tendencies, and things like that.
Yeah, and he's a defender. He's a strong guy, right? So he's gonna play good defense versus bigger guys, bigger opponents, maybe and stronger guys, right? For example, he's gonna have problem with those fast running off the screen guys, because he's a little bit slower, and it's harder for him to guard that kind of players. On the other hand, we have Emmanuel Quickly. He's a light dude, right? He has problem with the stronger guys, and the same Netherlands Noel. He's like a toothpick, basically. He can get pushed around by any center in the league. So it's always a guy. It's hard to find a player that's a great defender and strong and fast, because not every time those skill sets come in hand and come together in a pair, right? So
a couple more points I have on this particular topic. I think I had mentioned this a while back. It might have been before the season even started, but I was looking at the potential dynamic of RJ and Obi Toppin, which I want to see more of, and thinking how it could reminisce of the Duke connection with Zion's athleticism, Obi's athleticism, and the things they used to do together. I think we could see some of that. We could see some of that with RJ knowing that he could throw the ball up and Obi could just go get it, and he knows how to run those type of plays because he did it for a full year at Duke. I would love to see that dynamic. You mentioned him being slow, which he is, but I think one of his strengths is actually running the break. So
Yeah.
I think in that aspect, that's when you'll see him, put the
Flourish, yeah.
Jets on.
And he's good. He's going to be good at running the floor because when he has the ball, he's going to go to the end. He's not going to be passing up, last second, passes or whatever. He's going to go hard to the basket, and it's way better than, for example, I don't know if you remember Kevin Knox from previous seasons. He was going at the hole, but last step was away from the basket. So that's a bad habit to think. You rather, and I'm not saying to look for the contact. You always got to go first. Your idea should be to try to score the basket, right? Not okay, I'm going to get fouled and then I'm going to throw it up. You go straight up to get the point. If you get fouled, you get fouled. That's good.
Yep.
That's better, right? But you try to make every basket possible. You're not trying to, like quick. Also, that's a thing that I don't like about Emmanuel Quickly. He basically, when he has the advantage over his defender, he waits for him just to get the contact. And then, he makes those shots. Sometimes he makes them. But it's such an annoying thing. We hate players like that, on other teams that do it. But we love the guy that's doing it for us, right? And I'm looking like in a more perspective as a basketball fan and stuff. I'm happy that he's on our squad, right? But I would tweak some kind of his skill sets and rather use him in other ways. But it's something that pisses me off. But I'm happy sometimes he makes those shots, those floaters, those 3-pointers, step back 3-pointers even. For a rookie, that's a huge shot. But he makes them. But most of the time that step back is a bad shot. To be true with you.
So are there any adjustments that you feel we should make or could make to benefit the team?
Yeah, with this current roster, and we mentioned it several times on NBK, that splitting the minutes that kind of way that we always have a playmaker in Julius or RJ on the court. I think that's really important because Peyton nor Derrick Rose are those kind of players that in current situation of their careers are in that kind of stature that we run the play through them, right? Tibbs runs the offense heavily through Julius, but when Julius is off the court, we don't have that kind of player to run the offense. When we have Derrick Rose and IQ, they just run fast pace. They run plays, of course they run, right? But it's more of a chaotic game and chaos on the court, right? So I think and Derrick Rose tries to take advantage of that and score his points, get open shots for other guys. But it's not like in the playoffs we're going to be able to do it. I think we would have to hash those minutes, whatever word you want to use for it, and have RJ and Julius on the court, at least one of them at the same time. And and also to add, when you were talking about RJ and Obi, right? I think the Knicks run so many varieties of the pick and roll, but they don't use the simplest pick and roll. For example, on the side for a player like RJ and Obi, for a player like RJ and whoever for Mitch, those guys will flourish just that with that simple alley-oop, or even make them a bounce pass, let them catch the ball and have that last step just to dunk the ball. That would be perfect thing. I don't know why we don't even try to use it, because it's like sometimes someone has to forget the play just for these guys to run that simplest in the world pick and roll.
Yep, I agree. And to piggyback that, I mean, that is another reason why I feel RJ going to the bench, it gives you that go-to guy. Run the offense through RJ in that second unit. give Rose the opportunity to be the guy who creates off of a broken play, off of a breakdown or something, because that's where he's at his strength. Get the ball and go. You know what I mean? But to start the offense with that, get the ball and go, it's a lot easier to defend than if it's run the ball through RJ, have quickly up as a spot up, who can also still create a little bit as far as his own shot. You got a lob Mitch and Obi also have a 3-point threat in Obi, and you got Noel's to secure the rebound.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, and here and there catch a lob. But
And
I think that
Antonio,
changes the whole dynamic of our team.
all of those guys can cut to the basket except Noel, right? Obi can cut, D-Rose can cut, Quickly can cut, all of those guys. So, I think if RJ, and I think that's going to be his way of development, that his route, that he's going to try to develop a back to the basket game so he can, be the playmaker from a little bit from the post. I'm not talking the low post. I think even from the high post, pinch post, however you want to call it, I think he is going to be developed in that kind of way. We already see that he has that mid-range game and the shoot, the pull-up, whatever. He likes that shot because he's taking it. And I think, he's the closest player to Jimmy Butler that we're going to have on this Knicks squad in a couple of years. So
I was saying that last night off air though, but I feel like his ceiling is like a little better Jimmy Butler. And then we started looking at some of the numbers, and he's on pace to be exactly that, a little better than Butler as far as and people argue, Butler's not a superstar, he's not this, he's not that, but you've seen what his mere presence has done in Minnesota. You've seen what his presence has done in Miami, like, and they both have that same type of heart as far as I just want to win. You know what I mean? And I think RJ wouldn't even take it as a demotion or take it as, a bad thing. He's dealt with coming off the bench or not playing in the fourth quarter. I'm pretty sure he could deal with, coming off the bench and then being that go-to guy in that second unit.
As long as Thibs tells him that this is the role that he wants and that he needs him, in, I think RJ would, really, like you said, accept the role. But it's not gonna, I hope he doesn't pull Larry Brown, on Steph Marbury, so, and then D'Antoni, whatever, right?
Oh yeah,
like they,
yeah. I mean,
sit at the bench,
Yeah, he can't. He wouldn't do that. He's too valuable. I mean, we've seen it in majority of games that RJ hasn't played well. We haven't won, so we do need him. We need him to produce. You know what I mean? I think putting him in the best position to produce might just benefit us as a team.
For me, I think Thibs is one of those coaches that he can what's the best word here? Like sell these guys the idea that the team is more important than a player. And if they're gonna accept it and they're gonna buy into it, it's not gonna be a problem for them to start the game off the bench or to get the to, like the guy said, to swap RJ with Burks in the third, fourth minute of the game. As long as he's gonna rotate those guys and it's gonna be W after W after W, I think nobody's gonna have a problem, right?
Yeah, I agree. But Andy, man, I appreciate you coming on, man. This was fun. Last minute, and look, you gave me an hour and 15 minutes, man. So I appreciate you.
Happy, bro. I wish I had more stories, but if I had to go like those games, but bad bruises, like from like all the people say, right? This missed shot, bro. We would be here till the sunshine at my place, bro. So
6 hour difference.
Yeah.
But
So
you know what? I love this because this was by far the most unique Knicks and Bruises episode. You
yeah.
know,
And
so
bro, it's an everyday for me. I love to come on, and chop it up with you guys, because I have like basically non-Knicks fans here in my city. I have like two guys that like the Knicks, but they just think, oh, what do you think about Obi? And I'm like, what do you know about Obi? Oh, they picked him 8. Oh yeah, so if you didn't even watch a highlight, then what are we gonna talk with you? So that's the kind of Knicks fans I'm dealing here with in Poland, right? So that's why I love talking to you, to the rest of the crew, because we have so many people with knowledge here, right?
yes,
And it's not only haters, like this and that. I love to talk with some of these guys also, even with the haters that have different opinions, because we put it in a different light, but we're respectful. Nobody's gonna curse me out or whatever. And you can curse me out. I don't care, bro. I bro, I managed to deal with so many Knicks bruises, mental bruises here. So cursing me out is not gonna be a big thing for me.
it's a brush it off
So
the shoulder.
yeah, everyday
But
thing. So
yeah, man. Shout out to the chat. Your Black is Time, Knicks and Bruises, episode 12, International Andy. Man, this was fun. I appreciate you, bro.
thanks, bro. I hope you're gonna have a season 2 next year, so we can chop it
Oh,
up again.
we're gonna keep this going forever, man. As long as I got a guest, the floor is there. So yeah, we're gonna keep this thing going.
Great thing. Great idea, Tony.
I appreciate it. Salute, guys.
Salute.